So, Superman is not looking so well. Superman is not doing so well. At least the 2025 version of it. And because of the box office, the global box office is actually not as good as people predicted. Is because, I guess, according to James Gunn, he says that the American backlash hurts Superman, but box office history says otherwise. So, I guess in a way, they're basically saying, or at least James Gunn is saying, the reason why Superman isn't doing so well is because of Donald Trump. And the reason why it's failing is because of Donald Trump. And I think that's absolute bullcrap. Superman is is an American superhero. So there's a lot of things that people around the world doesn't really, they don't really, I guess, identify as with Superman is because he's a god. He's an otherworldly being that people can't really relate to, even though he was born in Krypton and raised on Earth by the Kents, right? But Superman, I'm not sure if he's the top 3 most popular superhero. No, I don't think so. I think number 1 is Batman. No, is Spider-Man, followed by Batman. So I'm not sure where Superman stands in terms of popularity, but he is very, very well known everywhere. So James Gunn offers an explanation for why his Superman reboot isn't connecting globally, and according to him, it's not the movie's fault. The Superman box office is currently skewing 58% domestic, which is a bad sign since big budget films usually rely more on international markets to be a success. What does James Gunn say about Superman in the international box office? He says, Superman is not a known commodity in some places. That is bullcrap. We all know that Superman is one of the most iconic superheroes of all time, right? Spider-Man's up there, Wolverine's up there, Batman's up there, and Superman's definitely up there, right? And of course, you're talking about the MCU stuff. Of course, they're all up there as well. But in terms of just general, Superman is very, very well known. He's not a big known superhero in some places like Batman is. That affects things, and it also affects things that we have a certain amount of anti-American sentiment around the world right now. It isn't really helping us. I think that's garbage. I would say if there was a Captain America movie that came out in terms of actually having Chris Evans being Captain America, I would say the movie would probably do really, really well, is because it's Captain America, right? The Captain America movies did fairly well too. And it's all about the American way, right? But the thing is that you didn't have Superman say truth, justice, the American way. But I think this is just all, in a way, sort of to sort of misdirect the actual criticism for Superman, is because the Superman film was mid. The Superman film was mid. I think that it was the most middlest mid Superman, is because I expected a lot higher and a lot more, I guess you would say, higher standard for this version of Superman, because this Superman is the reboot of the new DCU, and blaming it on Donald Trump and blaming it on anti-American sentiment around the world is 100% copium. He also added, so I think it's just a matter of letting something grow. But again, for us, everything's been a total win. Having the movie come out and be something that has been embraced by people everywhere. This is just a seed of tree that Peter and I have been watering for the past 3 years. So to be able to have it start off so positively has been incredibly overwhelming. So I guess it's not people didn't really embrace it everywhere because China didn't really embrace it as much as you thought they did, right? And typically for these type of superhero films, like for instance, let's say a Captain America movie comes out, that movie usually does a lot better overseas, right? It's not usually domestic wise, it doesn't really make that much. Well, it does make a lot of money, but it doesn't make nearly as much as something that's done from an international box office standpoint, right? So I think this is absolutely copium. So over here, Superman 2025, 171 million international, no China. The Batman, 400 million international. Black Adam, we have Black Adam here with 225 million, also no China. Man of Steel, 379 million international, which adjusts to $524 million, which is inflation. Justice League, 432 million and 569 for inflation. Batman versus Superman, 543 and 731 inflation. So that's absolutely cap. And I think that James Gunn is basically coming out and saying, hey, it actually is fine. We're actually is considered a success, right? So you look at the box office. This I just pulled it up, a little bit over $400 million. And right over here, you can see that domestic actually does it's fairly well, but international, not so much, right? Typically, internationals usually get about 100 million more than the domestic. Because typically that is the case. So if you actually go down, let's scroll down to the international. United Kingdom, Mexico, Brazil, and Australia basically pulled up, followed by France, and China did not come in hard. Is because we're not that long. But the thing is, China did not really care for Superman. Do you know why? Because China cared about dinosaurs. And I think dinosaurs are more important, right? So China only brought in an 8.5 million. And if you actually look at the box office, it dropped off about 50 something percent, right? So it was a 56% drop from last week. So 53 right here. 53% drop from last weekend. Not so good for overall. I think overall performance should have been a lot better, but it didn't hit that mark. Now we actually check out Jurassic World here. See, this is what I usually see. It's usually a $100 million difference between international and domestic, and it didn't hit that. And JW, I guess you would say, Jurassic World Rebirth is actually doing fairly well. And if you actually look at the international, ooh, China loved the dinosaur. Oh, China loves dinosaurs. 71 million, rounded up, right? $72 million for China. They love their dinosaurs. Now, the thing is that word of mouth is typically what holds a movie, and the word of mouth did not actually play that well for Superman. But another thing that you should probably closely compare it to is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, right? Guardians of the Galaxy, it is about 100 million additional for international, and overall with an 800 million. it's not looking so good. Another superhero that we can talk about is most recently from DC is the Batman, and we also have not too much over, but a little bit, right? It's basically a $30 million difference in terms of domestic and international. And the thing is that this movie, the Batman is more recognizable, right? But the thing is that this is a new launch, new DCU, and people should be very, very excited for it, but they are not. And the thing is that I don't think the word of mouth is actually giving this thing any legs for it to pass over. I would say if this movie reaches $600 million, it will be considered very, very good in the eyes of Peter Safran and James Gunn. But the thing is that it's not, right? Currently it has 409, but what comes out this weekend? Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four comes out this weekend, and I think it's gonna absorb a lot of the box office performance that this movie can get. I think if this movie hits $600 million, I will be actually surprised. I think it might potentially go past 500 million, but if it doesn't even go past $600 million, the Snyder Bros are gonna come out in droves saying how bad this movie is. Now, like I said, I think this movie is a mid movie at best. I gave it a 4.5 out of 10. This movie could have been a lot better. It could have been great, but it wasn't good enough for it to leg out. I think so far, including inflation, Man of Steel has about maybe like 800 million, and that is a lot, right? If you're including inflation, because if you're not including inflation, it had about like $680 million. So if this movie can make even $600 million, that would be great. But we talked about this before, that James Gunn came out preemptively saying that this movie does not need to make $700 million for it to be a success. That is bullshit, and we all know that's a lie. That is absolutely copium, because this movie should have been $1 billion box office. You should have gotten $1 billion for this. But I think that I think that the movie was not just, it wasn't good enough for it to capture a lot of what people really wanted. We wanted the heart and the likeness and the hope that we got from Christopher Reeve, and the more grounded, the more brutal, the more badass that we got from James Gunn. I'm not James Gunn, from Zack Snyder, and we didn't get that for James Gunn. We got hokey, campy, comic booky. Look, you can like the movie, it doesn't matter. The numbers don't lie. I don't think this movie will beat Superman. I don't think this Superman will beat Man of Steel in terms of box office performance. And I'm not even factoring in what's it called, inflation, right? With inflation, 680 million will net to almost 900 million dollars. So I don't think this movie will even hit 680. I think this movie will probably teeter around 575 to 580. I think that's the final. But hey, if this movie does better than that, cool. If not, then this fucking sucks. And Snyder Bros will be like, bro, we told you not to do it. We told you don't reset it. And it's basically, they're going to come out in droves. I already see all of them hanging out on Instagram saying that, wow, Man of Steel is better than Diaper Man. Man of Steel is so much better. Look at this fight scene. Check out Diaper Man. Look how stupid it is. Like, I've already seen a lot of this kind of stuff. And for me, I think if you go into the movie, no expectation, so basically don't really care about Superman, I think you'll have a fine time. I think you'll have a decent amount of time, decently good time at the theaters watching this movie. Now, if you are a big Superman fan, you either love it or hate it. For me, I don't like it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I just think this movie was mid. Maybe a little bit, maybe just a little bit under mid. But I do hope that this movie makes... I do want this movie to hit $600 million. I actually do. Is because I don't want another reboot of the DCU. I just want this movie to just like, all right, cool, move on to the next one and stuff like that. I don't believe their BS lies. Budgets is close to 300 million and nearly 200 million marketing on top of that. Even if I believe their 225 million budget with maybe 175 million marketing, it still needs 800 million to break even. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, we're gonna use their box office estimations, their their production cost estimations with marketing. Let's say this movie was a cost about, with marketing, $400 million. Can you make $800 million? If you can't, this is considered a failure. You are fail. The thing is, I hope it's good. I hope it's good. It was a letdown. I wanted it to be good. It was a letdown. I think if you like the movie, great. If you didn't like the movie, that's fine. For me, I don't care that this, for me, when I tell people I don't like this movie, people who love this movie will try to prove me wrong. For me, I'm just like, I just prefer Man of Steel. Man of Steel has a lot of problems, a lot of bullshit in that movie, but I enjoyed that movie more than this one. Does it mean I'm a Snyder bro? If that means I'm a Snyder bro, then I'm a Snyder bro. I've been called a lot worse names online, but I think that with the box office numbers, and you actually see the patterns that we've been getting, right? About 100 million over the domestic for international, about 100 million over above the a little bit over $100 million for the international for Guardians, and a little bit over $30 million. Maybe about $30 million for the international for this Batman, right? But the thing is, with all that said and done, I think that this movie might be hitting. I think it will hit $500 million. I don't think it's gonna hit $6. My original box office prediction for this movie was between 650 to $700 million. I don't think it's gonna hit that anymore. The thing is that this weekend was the only weekend that you really had in order for you to make all your money back. But Fantastic Four is coming out. Whether or not Fantastic Four is looking good, is tracking to make a lot of money, it doesn't really matter. People are gonna watch that over this movie. I guarantee it. And that sucks because I'm more of a DC fanboy than I am Marvel. And for me, I just want Superman to be Fantastic Four. I don't care if both of them sucks dick. I just want Superman to suck less dick than Fantastic Four. Because I've been seeing a lot of gay Pedro Pascal stuff online, and I don't want to be sucking no Pedro Pascal dick.